holidays took the child Ray to Darjeeling.
We used to spend holidays, very exciting holidays, in hill stations in Bihar. And we spent a long holiday in Darjeeling, I remember, when she took a job in a school called Maharani Girls' School. And the first sight of Kanchenjunga is unforgettable. That I remember very, very well. At 6 o'clock in the morning, my mother woke me up and said that come and have a look. And I stood at the window and there were the snows, red, pink, with the sunlight, the snow catching the sunlight.
He was 8.5 when he was admitted to the Baliganj Government High School, which he drew later to underline its shape like a T. When he visited the school 10 years after he had left it, the veranda, the classrooms, even the benches meant for the students, everything appeared much smaller than he remembered. His head touched the top of the door. As Ray rationalized mockingly, it took me a while to figure out why. Naturally, the school had not grown, I had. If Darjeeling as a holiday haunt gave Ray nature in all its glory, Lucknow, the other holiday site, offered him another nature, a nature remade by man in the intriguing range of architecture from the Mughal to the colonial. For Ray, Lucknow, to which he returned in his later stories and in at least one film, was history touched with music. What amazed him the most, however, was of course the maze called Bhul Bhulaiya, with its invitation to get lost, and the legend of the English soldier who went into it in arrogant pride and never came out again. The college chosen for Ray was the redoubtable Presidency College, where his father too had studied.
I think my 2 years as a student of BA was more or less wasted. I lost interest in college because it was not my subject. I had to study it. I passed. I got an honors in economics, but it was not really my subject.
At school, he had discovered Western classical music, an interest that he nurtured and developed in his college days, buying records with his pocket money, the newfound passion moving him to neglect his studies.
And I developed a habit of listening to Western classical music with a miniature score. And that used to be my bedside reading. I would listen to a new symphony perhaps, with a score, and then go to bed with it. And going through it, the symphony would come back to me. And that's how I learned Western notation.
The few occasions that I met Rabindranath face to face, well, meeting is hardly the word. One stole up to him with one's heart in one's mouth and touched his feet. But every time that happened, Rabindranath would glance up at my mother and say, "Why don't you send your son to my school?" Although I joined as a student of Kalabhavan, I had no wish to become a painter, certainly not a painter of the Oriental school. I strongly disliked the wishy-washy sentimentalism of the Oriental arts one encountered in the pages of Pravasi and Modern Review.
The Arts Library in Shantiniketan was a veritable gallery of artistic styles and, at the same time, offered Ray books like Paul Rother's The Film Till Now and Raymond Spottiswood's A Grammar of the Film to give him his entry into film theory and history.
But Shantiniketan taught me two things: to look at paintings and to look at nature. We used to go out in the afternoon to sketch from nature. Nandalal Bose, our master Mashai, would steal up from behind, peer over the shoulder and say, "That's a good outline of a cow." But a cow is more than an outline. You must feel the form of the animal, the flesh and bones beneath the skin. In the 2.5 years, I had time to think and time to realize that almost without my being aware of it, the place had opened windows for me. More than anything else, it had brought to me an awareness of our tradition, which I knew would serve as a foundation for any branch of art that I wished to pursue.
A long tour in December 1941 of Ajanta, Ellora, Khajuraho and Elephanta with 4 of his friends extended Ray's artistic horizon from the Chinese landscapes, Japanese woodcuts and Indian miniatures he had discovered in Shantiniketan to the grandeur of rock-cut architecture and sculptures.
2 trips to the great art centers of India consolidate the idea of Indian tradition in my mind. At last, I was beginning to find myself and find my roots.
The mob frenzy after the death of Tagore that Ray witnessed in Calcutta left him in a state of bitter annoyance. The real sense of loss, however, would come to him much later in life. A year later, he returned to Calcutta permanently. The day he arrived, the Japanese bombed the city for the second time. His search for a job landed him as a junior visualizer in D.J. Keemer, a British advertising agency, where he found an excellent teacher in the new and different art form in Onnoda Munshi, the art director. The daily grind of dealing with products and clients was not something he could take for long, though he made the best of it in innovative, indigenous and realistic design drawing on the familiar. There was a relief from the drudgery and a sense of emancipation in Ray's involvement in book design and illustration for Signet Press. It was a challenge for Ray to illustrate the reprints of works by Abanindranath Tagore and his own grandfather and father. As he mastered the art, he made excellent use of folk motifs, traditional designs, and his own freedom of line. With these, he could tackle the distinctions of a wide range of books. The avant-garde poetry of the period in particular found a designer who could underscore the distinctive voices. He did not confine himself to books alone. Mastheads and logos led to an invitation card for a friend's wedding. The friend, Horishadhan Dasgupta was assistant to Jean Renoir when he filmed The River in and around Calcutta. Ray would later acknowledge in his memoirs that it was Renoir who planted the idea of making a film in his mind.